What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Grave Media. This is Josh here, checking in on you on a little Friday Eve. How we doing out there? Happy Thursday. I'm gonna be quick tonight. We got the weekend coming. I'm excited about that. And I'm also criminally late, and whenever I don't see something for a long time and everyone raves about it, I kind of feel like a poser, like a complete loser. So this is one of those movies. What is this, 2008? So late, like in the last 2 to 3 years. The mighty Eden Lake. This is a nightmare film. This is a vacation nightmare. I love it. Love you guys. If you want to see more from me, like, comment, subscribe, talk some mess down there. Let's break down Eden Lake. Like I said, I first discovered Eden Lake probably in 2021, and it was all over different message boards on Reddit and top 30 horror films of the last 25 years. And basically the plot of Eden Lake is a nightmare vacation just gone to hell. So it's a British horror film. It's released in 2008, directed by James Watkins. And the basic story follows a young couple, Jenny and Steve, who decide to spend a romantic weekend at a remote lake in the English countryside. Eden Lake, right? They get there and he's just promised. Old Steve's promising Jenny, hey man, this is going to be the best vacation. I have the best memories, until their peaceful getaway takes a turn when they encounter this group of these bums, these teenage hooligans, right? And they begin to violently terrorize them. The couple does everything they can to try to rid them. They go to the people's houses. They try to talk to the parents. Wherever they go, they got flat tires. They're driving through the woods. They can't even have a breakfast without running into these kids. And maybe Steve takes it a little too far, and maybe Steve doesn't. But the violence, the revenge, and the breakdown of societal norms in this movie is intense. It's known for the atmosphere, realistic portrayal of violence. There's some twists, there's some unfortunate ends in this movie, particularly though Kelly Riley and Michael Fassbender crush it. Absolutely incredible. Eden Lake, gripping, disturbing, leaves an impact on its audience? Check. If you want an intense thriller that tinges on the horror elements because you can't seem to get away from these little a-holes, this is the movie for you. It delves into the darker aspects of human nature. Eden Lake is worth your time. I hope you will get into it. Like I said, I was so late to this movie, it's criminal. There's something about these kids, you just want to punch them. And poor Kelly O'Reilly. Golly, man, I'll tell you, this movie absolutely rips. This is a story as old as time, right? Guy gets his girl, wants to take her on a wonderful vacation, wants to maybe propose to her, try to do things the right way, relive some of his old memories, right? He's got the beer, he's got the picnic, he's got the Jeep, he's got the girl, he's got everything he needs for the perfect vacation. And unfortunately, there's other people that also like to go to this lake, and times have changed. That's the basic plot of Eden Lake. And everything that you want to do to try to help these people in this movie, you can't, because there's a societal norm, it's a hard word to say. There's a breakdown in the parenting, there's a breakdown in how they were raised, there's a breakdown in everything. There's no rules, it's total anarchy. And when I first watched this movie, I believed it. I was like, these are just little jerks. There's nothing we can do about it. We just got to get away from them. We just got to try to have our own fun, right? We're on this beach, let's just chill, it's our time. Everything's fine. But it starts even before they get to Eden Lake. Like, it starts when they go to just the pub next to Eden Lake, and the parents are terrible. The room service, the bartenders, everyone's just like, fancy a shag, Mike. Everyone's just horrible in this movie. So Michael Fassbender does his best to keep his cool, and he's a bigger fella. He's kind of skinny, and he's great in most movies, but he's just not strong enough in this movie. And he looks like he could be strong, but there's something about him that just still feels a little bit frail. He's not intimidating, and he has to protect his wife here. What's her name? Kelly Riley from Yellowstone. She ends up being totally badass, totally competent, but it takes some twists with it. And the big problem that I see people having with this movie is it's not believable. These kids, just kick them. Or I'm not going to say anything violent about kids, but people will have they'll say, hey, they're just a kid, run away from them, or go tell their parents, or take their Nintendo, right? Take their phone away. They won't be able to do anything. But these are not your average kids. These are kind of like gutter punk kids that were abused, kids that were mistreated, kids that didn't have the same upbringing as our central characters here. So there's really nothing that they can do to try to bring them back. And unfortunately, they have to learn that the hard way. What happens in this movie, I think is pretty shocking. I mean, I didn't see all the twists and turns coming. I was on the edge of my seat, and it was just a blind watch. There was a ton ton of people saying, hey Josh, dude, you gotta watch this movie. So when I finally did, I was like, I can't wait to show somebody else this movie, dude. I loved it. And the person that I showed was my wife, and she was like, it was a pretty good movie. I mean, it's pretty intense. But do you think those kids are scary? And I was like, if you get enough of them, I mean, you don't think that would ruin our time? You want to go to Great Wolf Lodge and just see what happens? That would be horrible if they all like gang up against you. So the violence and maybe the diminutive stature of the bullies is maybe what throws people off a little bit. Totally fair, because if, God forbid, you had, you know, a dog or other forms of protection, and there is dog violence in this movie, and it's not pleasant, so be ready for that. And I've given up plenty of spoilers already, but what happens, people hate this movie, and they love this movie, I think, and a lot of that has to do with how it ends, and, you know, you're like rooting or you're rooting against. You're not sure who to go for because everything is not as it seems, and I love that about this movie. I thought the kids were great, the acting was great, I thought the set was great, I loved the actual lake itself, I loved how they made the entire woods just like the devil's playground. I thought that was awesome. I also liked how they would just go try to find people and just be rational, like, hey, your little brats here, they're kicking my cat, or whatever they're saying. Like, I need some compensation for this. And like, I didn't raise them. Just like, you know, no quarter, no shelter for these kids. These kids are running amok. So I think Eden Lake's amazing. There's tons of gore. There's a tire scene. If you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. That tire scene, 10 out of 10. The tire scene, the underwater scene, there's a couple of others that just like are absolutely brutal. There's a lot of knives, there's a lot of knife fighting in this movie. You know, there's not a lot of movies that still like bring out a blade or like a switchblade or a pocket knife and have so much dread. This movie, the directing, the way it's tight, everything is like so deliberate. The first 10 minutes, you know, you're just like, these couple, they just want to relax. Can we just get them to this vacation? All they want to do is relax. I've watched it probably like 5 or 6 times since that first time, and I'm rooting for them the whole time. I'm just like, you guys can do it. Get away from them. It's fine. Maybe swim somewhere. Maybe they'll get tired. Do something to get away from these damn kids. It's gonna be okay. And so on physical media, I thought I was cool because I have physical copy. This is the Dimension Extreme Eden Lake. I think this one isn't imported, but it does have those awesome little snaps on it. You guys remember the snaps? I think I paid like $25 on this from eBay. Because I was obviously not paying attention to the dimension line. I got a few of them, but snaps though. You go to let somebody borrow this, my brother in particular is like, dude, the movie's unwatchable. I think it's a pretty good movie, but it's unwatchable because it's in 480p, right? And you take 480p and you stretch that out over 65 inches and it does not look good. So my version that I watched was, you know, 1080 on Shudder. There's a ton of import releases of this movie, but yeah, this is not the preferred way to watch it. The one that you want is from Cape Light. My buddy Frank at Frank's Media and Reviews. He's got a Cape Light. I think is it a 4K? It's like $50, $45, something like that on Amazon. I haven't pulled the trigger on it. I need that. Somebody buy me that. Send it to me. Eden Lake's one of my favorite movies. It's a new movie I just discovered. My wife likes it. Most people I've shown, they like it, but you do need to watch it. If it's streaming digitally near you, watch that. It was on Tubi forever, but then you got to deal with commercials. You want to make sure you're watching this in at least 720, I would say, because the violence and the gore and how intense the scenes are, they're going to lose its luster if you can't watch it on a high def format. So I got an old plasma in my room that's got, you know, a DVD Blu-ray player. This thing still looks great. It's made for that small room experience, but on a big TV on a new system, you're going to want it for sure. Watch Eden Lake, guys. That's my review. Pretty quick. What are we at? 6 minutes? That's not bad. It's not bad. Get in, get out, baby. Wash your hands. Watch Eden Lake. This thing, it's mean. It's nasty. I mean, it says extreme because it's pretty extreme. There's a lot of killing. There's a lot of death. There's a lot of like dismemberment and fire and it's brutal. Anybody can die in this movie. Incredible movie. I absolutely love it. So check that out. Until then, I got some cool stuff I'm cooking up for this weekend. Gonna try to get a little bit weird. Until then, if I don't see you, take care of yourselves. Whatever you're doing, you're crushing it. Proud of you. Until then, cheers.